and welcome to a tutorial on using classical studies databases. I'm going to quickly demonstrate the uses of 3 subscription databases that focus on classical studies and go into a little bit of why and when you would use each database during your research. This tutorial is being recorded for LS567 Digital Reference. This course is part of the University of Alabama's Masters of Library Science and Information Studies program. The first database we are going to explore is Brill's New Poly. This is an encyclopedia. While you're not going to find peer-reviewed articles here, this resource is an excellent place to start your research. The entries provide information on a variety of topics, and the links within the entries can be used to narrow your search or to expand your search. Now, first thing we're going to do here is a simple search. There is an advanced search option, but first we're going to start with a simple search and see what that pulls up. As you can see, Lucian pulled up several hits. We have 312, which is a little too many to look through. Now, since we do not want to look through all 312 results, we're going to go ahead and modify our search. This will take us into the advanced search, which gives us options for narrowing down our search. You can also search within your search results for things like information from the bibliography, the region, the country, subject, language, and the keywords. I have found with this particular database, it's often easier when you have a narrow topic such as a name to simply add Boolean operators to help narrow down your search. The Boolean operators and other useful search tips are located right above the search bar for your convenience. Now I know where this particular person lives, so I'm going to add and then the region where Lucian was from. As you can see, this search has returned more relevant hits. First, we have the region that we searched for, and the second entry is the person we were looking for. You'll notice this is not the spelling I used, but often when you're searching for ancient people and places, you will find there are several variations of their names. This usually includes a Latin spelling, a Greek spelling, and sometimes an English spelling. So if we open this up, we will find a brief entry with factual information about Lucian's life, what he did, and it turns out he was an author, so we will also find a list of his works. Now, if you want to take your research further and actually read some of Lucian's works, you will not find that here. So to continue our research on this person, we're going to use a different resource. To find some translations of classical texts, we're going to use this database, the Loeb Classical Library. Now, because these texts are so old, you would be able to find some just on the internet through Google Scholar or other resources. But we're going to use this resource because it provides a better search, and also it is authoritative and provides more up-to-date translations. Now, there is a search option. There is also an advanced search option. But to start, I'm going to go over to Browse. I'm going to click on the author since I know I'm looking for one particular author. I could also look for Greek works, Latin works, or look through volumes. If I click on authors, I will get an alphabetical list of authors. I'm going to go to the L, and here I can see how they choose to spell Lucian's name. Searching for Lucian's works gives me 88 hits. Now I can further narrow my results by searching within the results, narrowing my choices by author, which would not help me here as I've already chosen an author. I can also narrow by form, period, and the genre. So if we go down, we know Lucian wrote satire, so I'm going to go down and I'm going to click on satire. And this will narrow my search. As mentioned earlier, along with the browse feature, there is also a search feature. We're going to go ahead and look at the advanced search option. The most notable thing about this advanced search is this keyboard at the end of the search bar gives you the option to type in Greek. Now, I don't know any Greek, so I'm not going to explore this option, but we are going to do a search for Lucian. We're going to leave him as the author. We can choose author, editor, translator. You can search in the main text or the notes, and you can also look for the digital object identifier if you know that. Now we're also going to look through the main text of these works, and we're going to search for anything Lucian wrote that included the word Rome. Now when you look at these results, if you click on Show Results Within, it will show you the places where Rome appears in the text. If you click on these links, it will take you directly to the text where Rome is mentioned. And you'll notice on the left side is the original text in Greek, and then on the right is the English translation. And on the right, Rome, the word we were looking for, is highlighted. There are also links at the bottom of the page where you can look for related works, such as Lucian, works from the Greek library, the time period, prose, or biographies. Now that we've learned about Lucian and read some of his works, we may want to dig deeper into the meaning behind what he wrote and see what other scholars have to say about him. For that, we're going to have to go and use a different database. To continue our search, we're going to use the Linnaeus Philologique database. This is a database that indexes a truly amazing amount of journals dedicated to classical studies, books, and book reviews as well. We're going to go straight into the advanced search option, and we're going to do a quick search for the ancient authors and texts, and we're going to use Lucian, and I'm going to go ahead and add satire as our limiter and see what comes up. Now you'll notice some of our results are not in English, so whenever you do a search in this database, because it is an international indexing, you're going to want to come down to the language and limit your results to English. This resource is useful because it indexes such a wide variety of journals in this field. However, because it is an index, it's not going to contain the full text. So if I wanted to read this, The Reflections of Satire, I could not get to it from this database. I would have to go somewhere else to find the full text of the article. And the same goes for books. So that is a major drawback of this resource, but because it indexes such a large number of journals, it is still worth looking at. The advanced search of this database doesn't offer much beyond what you would generally find in an academic database. However, there are other search options it offers. You can look through ancient authors and texts, you can look through subjects and disciplines, and you can also look at the indexed journals. We're going to look at the subjects and disciplines. The subjects and discipline options allows you to look through predetermined search terms that are broken down into subject or their specific discipline. You can do a search with just the disciplines listed here, or you can expand the discipline or the subject and get a more specific search. So we can go all the way down and expand the genre, and we can look simply for narrative prose or historiography. And when we do that search, it will pull up everything indexed on this particular subject. Once you have done this search, you are able to further narrow your search either by adding more search terms or by refining your results. This brings our short tutorial to a close. Hopefully through this tutorial you have learned the benefits and drawbacks of the three databases we talked about. While they all focus on classical studies, each has specialized content and search options that makes it beneficial to use in your research. None of these databases are a one-stop shopping trip, and it might be more time efficient sometimes to go into a more generic database and do your searches there. However, by doing this, you miss out on some of the unique search options that are tailored to these specific resources, and that is what makes using subject-specific databases more useful sometimes than going to a more generic database. I hope you have enjoyed this short tutorial showcasing three classical studies databases. databases, and that the information here has been useful to you.
If you are unable to access the databases mentioned in this tutorial, but are still interested in classical studies, there are some free resources that are roughly equivalent to the ones I talked about today. A replacement for Brill's Nepali could be Encyclopedia.com, which is a free online encyclopedia that's a little more reputable than Wikipedia. For ancient text, you can try the Library of Ancient Texts online. While not quite as up-to-date as the Loeb Classical Library, it still has a good deal of classical text you can look at. And if you're interested in the indexes of classical journals, this is a great resource for you to try. It is a volunteer project, but it still provides a great free resource to those interested in classical studies.